His fingers were already beneath my blouse once I hit the dryer behind me. The hum vibrated up my spine. The heady scent of fabric softener thickened the air like clean lies. He failed to ask. He simply moved closer. The mouth on my collarbone, breath dragging warm temperature throughout the pores and skin. I hadn't permit absolutely everyone touch like this in years. The overhead bulb flickered low yellow, exposing. I saved one hand behind me, gripping the brink of the folding desk like it can anchor me to the version of myself I was looking to keep in mind. His weight pressed into my hips, gradual before everything, then deep. I gasped, each inch stuffed. Something in me I hadn't named until it turned into already happening. My knee knocked the open detergent bottle. It rocked but failed to fall. I could not circulate to restoration it. I could barely breathe. His hand turned into on my lower again, guiding. The dryer rattled again, and that I swallowed a sound that was an ache. Not clearly. It stung, but I did not stop him. I leaned, returned tougher. I might gone years without being touched, and then I let this take place. I am 39, married, worn out in a manner you cannot give an explanation for without sounding ungrateful. You know the type. The sort of exhaustion that creeps into your bones. Not from paintings, now not from parenting, but from by no means being checked out the same manner 2 times. He is 31, not a stranger. That could have made more experience. He was my husband's coworker. Came over to help patch drywall after the leak. Came lower back to assist set up cabinets in the laundry. Came again simply to say hello. I knew what I was doing once I started carrying that outfitted blouse, the one that clings after I reach up. I informed myself it became hot that day. It wasn't. I used to think loneliness was silent, but it is not. It has a heartbeat and it kilos. In your ears while someone finally, in the end, puts their hand in your lower back and would not pull it away. What would you do if the comfort you wish got here from the one character you have been never supposed to feel that way, approximately? Because it wasn't sudden, it turned into sluggish, a quiet accumulation of glances, his hand brushing mine when he surpassed me a screwdriver. The manner he looked at me, now not like I was his friend's wife, like I used to be a mystery he wanted to preserve. That first time wasn't deliberate. We failed to kiss. We did not even communicate. We just stood too close. I became around too fast, ran into him, and I didn't step again. There may be a moment proper before something happens where you may still forestall it. I failed to. I let him press into me. Permit him slide his hand down the return of my jeans. Like he'd finished it earlier than I allowed the air thicken around us. The partitions go quiet. The strains blur. And in that laundry room, underneath the flickering bulb and the consistent hum of a device that in no way questioned me, I did the only issue I swore I never might. I allow go. In case you've ever reached for consolation within the incorrect region. Not because you meant to, however, because you failed to realize where else to move. This tale may also sense acquainted. Like and subscribe. Staying through facilitates those testimonies attained to those who quietly want them. Let's begin. The morning after, I folded towels like not anything had came about. I stood at the identical folding table, the one he had pressed me into simply hours in advance, and smoothed each side as though it had erased the way my body nonetheless ached. My husband became in the living room guffawing at some YouTube video, his voice growing in that oblivious, trusting way that made my stomach tighten. I wasn't supposed to sense responsible, not because what passed off wasn't wrong, however, as it didn't feel like cheating. It felt like responding to years of silence, of absence, of being handled like a fixture in place of a girl. He had barely touched me in months. No longer in anger, now not in resentment, simply in slow forgetting. It truly is the factor about marriage. While it begins dying, it doesn't scream. It simply is going quiet. The type of quiet that makes you overlook you ever had a voice. I met Kofi at a business enterprise cookout 2 years in the past. He became younger, however not boyish. The form of guy who had grown into his self-assurance, a bit cocky but extra observant than he allow on. He became constantly the one imparting to help, the one staying after anyone else had long passed to clean up, to hold packing containers, to restore things nobody requested him to restoration. He wasn't flirtatious. Now, not overtly, but he checked out me like I wasn't invisible. And that alone changed into risky. He started coming around more while my husband tore his rotator cuff, stated he'd assist with the heavy lifting. I supplied him iced tea on hot days, and he took it with a thank you that constantly lingered. He did not stare. He scanned like he was gaining knowledge of me, and I allow him. There was sooner or later I take into account clearly before whatever ever passed off. I used to be in the garage struggling to lift a box of vintage Christmas decorations. He walked in without knocking, took it from me without asking. Our hands brushed. Not anything dramatic, but my chest stayed tight for the next hour. It truly is how it started out. Now, not with lust, with attention. You don't comprehend how contact starved you till a person grazes your shoulder and it makes your eyes sting. I advised myself I was imagining it. The pauses in communique, the way he waited until we had been by myself to make jokes that weren't quite jokes. However, there was one afternoon that changed the entirety. The washing machine had stopped mid-cycle and I known as him due to the fact my husband was at a convention. He confirmed up half-hour later. No equipment, just a grin and a shrug. It's likely nothing, only a free connection. However, he failed to go instantly to the machine. He lingered within the doorway, looking me wipe my hands on a dish towel. The silence turned into thick, tighter than regular, the sort that hangs earlier. Then something snaps. I need to have exceeded him the instruction guide and walked away. Alternatively, I supplied coffee. He sat at the stool via the counter, and we pointed out not anything, the weather, his horrible landlord, my garden that by no means grew proper. However, the words were at the point. The point turned into we. Didn't need the moment to give up. And then he reached over, maybe to take the sugar I'd set out, perhaps to touch me. I still do not know, but his hands grazed mine. I failed to recoil. He looked at me for too lengthy, and that I failed to appearance. Away. I'd continually believed I was the sort who would by no means, and all at once I wasn't so certain. What do you do when someone sees you not as a mother, not as a wife, but as a lady who still needs, nevertheless aches, nevertheless breathes? You both run or you inch closer. I did not run. We did not contact once more that day. However, something shifted. The silence were given louder, the air greater electric powered. He started out solving matters that didn't want fixing. I started. Leaving the side door unlocked. There may be a loneliness that lives in a home like mine. A quiet, well-mannered one, the type you decorate with throw pillows and candle scents. And while a person new steps into that vacuum, it does not take a great deal for the entire basis to begin shaking. I did not want Kofi, not before everything. I wanted to sense something. And when I in the end did, I could not fall. It failed to count.